Good morning, Fashion 21. I am so sorry that this video is late. I had some technical issues with my laptop. I couldn't record. So we are back up and running, and this is week 13. So next week, as most of you may know already, is a holiday. So for your week 14, we will not be in session, which means we technically only have 3 more weeks of our class together. So if you can please follow me as I go through what assignments will be due in the following 3 weeks that we have left. So under modules, week 13, check out the folder that says week 13 class. And here is what we have on our to-do list this week. So I am going to lecture on our last 2 sections on historical and ethnic costuming. So check out those videos in the appropriate folder for those 2 lectures. And I will have you take quiz on chapter 12, and both historic and ethnic clothing will be a combined quiz. So technically you have 2 quizzes due before June 1st. Now June 1st is when we're back from our holiday break. And I'm going to assign to you the rest of our major final projects that will be due both June 1st and on the last day of class, which is June 8th. So let's talk about each of these. The first one that I want to talk to you about is the designer's use of elements and design. And I made this title here clickable, so it'll take you directly to the assignment. So this is also one of your final assignments due June 1st. Just in case you missed this one, I think I went over this last week. So for this assignment, you are to choose one designer, and we're going to dissect and see what kind of elements of design they love using, or what elements of design they're known for. So this is going to be a slideshow presentation, whether you use PowerPoint or Google Slides, totally your preference. This is worth 50 points, and this will be due, I'm moving the due date to June 1st, that way we have enough time to catch up on everything. And again, please check out the rubric down below for the maximum amount of points possible. I want all of you guys to finish this course with an A, and to do that, make sure you're maximizing the amount of points that you can get on each assignment by looking at the rubric down below. So we're going to have 7 slides for this assignment, and the rubric tells you how much each slide is worth. So here's some more detailed information on what to include on your slides. So slide number 1 is going to be to choose a designer. Select a designer that inspires you or you really enjoy watching their work. Make sure you add a photograph of that designer and list the life dates, whether in what country they lived in. Also note what the designer is best known for in 3 words or less. Be creative and accurate. This should make your presentation pop. Slide 2 include 1 to 2 photos of the designer's work with your own words describing what type of silhouette they love using. And you can go back to our chapters where we cover silhouettes. I think it was chapter 2 or 3. The next slide, slide 3, include 1 to 2 different photographs of the designer's work. And again, you can pull their work off of their website, or Vogue.com is a great resource. You can get some runway shots. Totally up to you. But make sure each slide is displaying that same designer's work, is just different outfits. So for number 3, what I'd like you to do is draw arrows pointing to the 3 different types of line, structure, decorative, or directional that they're using. any type of line, but point out at least 3 that they're using. For slide number 4, we're going to repeat the same thing, just with different photographs of different outfits. So you're going to pick 2 different outfits of that same designer, and again with arrows, and in your own words, you're going to point to their use of form, shape, or space. So it's totally up to you the type of form, shape, and space, as long as you're pinpointing what kind that designer used in that outfit. For slide number 5, you're going to repeat the same thing. Remember, different outfits of the same designer's work with arrows, and in your own words, point out the designer's use of texture. So any type of texture, just go ahead and pinpoint where they have used texture in that outfit. Slide number 6, you're going to repeat the same thing. Two different photographs of that designer's work, and with arrows you're going to point to their use of pattern or color. And the last slide, slide number 7, is going to be the bibliography, and you're going to cite all your sources, tell me where you found all of these images and this information from the designer, and that will complete your assignment for a maximum amount of points of 50 points. This is a big one. I don't want you to miss it, so make sure you cover all of the valid points, okay? All right, so moving on to our next assignment. That will be due the 1st of June as well. This will be your batik final fabric. We're making a batik final fabric for our final fabric in this class. So this is a new type of technique to you, and you won't understand what a batik is until you read the ethnic clothing section or lecture for this week. So once you read or watch the lecture on the ethnic clothing, you can come back to the assignment and it'll make much more sense, but I'm just going to go over it so you know what's due. So a batik, you're going to design your own batik fabric using any type of cotton fabric. I recommend muslin if you have any 100% cotton lying around your house. That's totally fine too. And I've also listed a little YouTube video of how to do this. Now, what you're going to do is sketch out a design using any type of glue that you have available to you at this point. It can be fabric glue, it can be Elmer's glue. I recommend Elmer's glue, or even hot glue. If you want to use hot glue, I think I've had a few students use hot glue. I'm not going to penalize you if your size isn't accurate. This one says 4x4. It's a very small swatch. You don't need much 100% cotton. But I do want you to try your best with the materials that you have. I don't expect you to go out and buy, all of these materials. Just use what you have. Make the best of it. And I'm not going to penalize you for not having these accurate if you don't have the supplies on hand. So what you're going to do is pick 2 types of elements of design, elements or principles of design, either line, shape, form, space, texture, color, all of these, right? Pick at least 2 and implement them into your batik fabric. So let me show you what that's going to look like. Here's the video tutorial. Blake Art Materials.
Would you like to learn a way to do batik easily, inexpensively, and safely in your classroom, no matter what age level you teach? Hi there, I'm Julie Davis, and this is Blick Art Materials Workshops. Today, I'm going to show you easy fabric batik.
Okay, so from here, you're going to take your design.
Let me show you. First, we're going to start out with a piece of unbleached muslin. This is 100% cotton, natural fibers. I've gone ahead and washed my piece, first of all, just to make sure that all dirt is removed, and I ironed it to make sure that it's nice and flat. It comes in a roll, so you can cut it down to what...
Okay, I'm going to fast forward this
without
to
you
get to the
noticing
good nitty-gritty
glue.
portion.
If you have Elmer's blue gel glue, as long as it's the washable version, you can use it as well. Okay, just starting anywhere on your design, you start to draw a glue line. And you can just see how nicely.
Okay, so with the glue, you're going to make a design.
We're going to be using Blick Premium Tempera Paint today.
So on this tutorial, she uses paint, but you can use anything you have at hand. And if that means you have fabric dye on hand, perfect, use it. If you have any type of paint on hand, totally fine. If you don't have any paint, maybe you have some tea or coffee, you can stain your project. Again, use whatever you have at home. I don't want you running out and buying whole new supplies. But once your design is dried, what you're going to do is either dip it in your dye or dip it in your coffee or tea to stain it. And then you will be able to either remove the glue to create a batik fabric, or if you're going to use paint, that's fine too. You can paint around the glue lines once it's dry. So totally up to you. Now this project is worth 40 points and it's due June 1st. We are going to have a presentation on one of our discussion forums, so make sure that's finished and done by June 1st. So our next assignment here is our final garment project. Now this is a garment that will be inspired by either ethnic or historic costuming, which you're going to refer back to that lecture on ethnic or historic costuming. And you're going to demonstrate the use of principles and elements of design for our chapters 1 through 12. Describe the correct terminology of what type of style you're demonstrating. You will be graded on your use of principles of elements of design. This project tells me everything you learned in my class. Tell me everything you learned about line, shape, form, space, texture, color, pattern, emphasis, balance, proportion, rhythm, unity. Here are some examples, and I also left the link to our class Tumblr examples, so you can check that out. But here are some examples of final projects that students have done. Again, I want you to use stuff that you have laying around the house. If it means using your old sheets or your old clothing to upcycle, that's totally fine. But I want to give you some inspiration to what past students have done for this project. And again, you're supposed to be inspired by either an ethnic or historic costume from our lecture this week. Okay, so this is final garment project will be due June 8th. That's our last class session, and it's worth 50 points. So during our little break, Monday is a holiday, try to gather inspiration. Watch old movies. I listed a list of movies that you can watch that may be beneficial to you. Let me go to that. Or just from our lectures, maybe you'll be inspired by something that we've talked about in our lectures. So I have film and fashion and films to watch, 2 different little folders, and it gives you examples of what decade each of these shows or movies demonstrate, from The Great Gatsby to Downton Abbey. Bomb Girls is another great one, Flashdance. And the list goes on and on and on. So think about what inspires you the most for this final project. Okay, so in a nutshell, that is our week 13. I have given you all of our final projects, assigned to you all of our final projects. If you have any questions on any of these, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I think that's it. I will see you on June 1st. And go ahead and watch the lectures on traditional and ethnic costuming and historic eras costuming. So I'll leave you with that. Have a good weekend. I'll see you on June 1st.